next year, I can answer questions. And, but I'm going to ask that you continue to be respectful of each other's. People will have different beliefs and different feelings. So this is not a place to have an argument, but just to get your answers, your questions answered. And then as well, if there's something more that you want to know, please contact Cindy, Katie, or I in the office. I am going to say, though, I will be out of town the rest of this week, but I will see my emails. I think most of us are gone this week out of the office. So it would be next week unless you do an email. So if you have questions, please do so. We're pretty good about getting back within 48 hours. So just know that. So let's go ahead and start with the big deal of what we're doing. We are going back to school 5 days a week, regular schedule, which means that we start at 8:10 and primary TK to third will get out at 2:10 and fourth through eighth will get out at 3:15, except on Mondays up until Thanksgiving. Primary will get out at, means TK to third, will get out at 1:10 and fourth through eighth will get out at 2:15. Buses are regular route. We have sports back. Everything is back. We will still have the hand sanitizers around campus. We will still have the fencing around, not the fencing that is in the big fencing around our perimeters, but that has nothing actually to do with COVID. That has more to do with, I've had parents year after year want to feel more safe. So since we did it for COVID, we're going to go ahead and keep the fences around our campus and kind of still do that. But otherwise than that, the only thing that will be different at this time right now is that masks are not required outside. They are required inside. We do have 2 parents who have asked to come to the board meeting to address the board meeting about that. I am not at liberty to change those rules or encourage the board to defy regulations. That's something the board has to decide. I do want you to realize that when the board decided last year not to have the kids wear a mask outside, it was because of the number of asthma kids we had and the increased numbers we had in the office. And so obviously Sundale's liable for just about everything, right? So whether somebody gets COVID or whether it was asthma, the board decided to protect against, not that they didn't want to protect against COVID, but we hadn't really had too many cases. So they decided to let the mask come off, mostly because of the issues with asthma. So for those of you that, there's only 2 people on the agenda to talk to the board. If you want to come to the board meeting, you can speak on anything on the agenda, but you only have 3 minutes. However, I just want you to be mindful of knowing that you're going to have to give the board a really good reason why they should defy it if you want them to. And then the other thing is you do have to understand, I know that there's a group, I think on Facebook that is talking about not masking Tulare at all. I get that. I get the concerns. I get both sides of it. But there are rules and regulations we need to follow. And if we're not, there has to be a good reason why not to. So I'm not saying that what the board will do. I don't know. I just want you to know that when the board makes those kind of decisions, not only will it put the school in liability, it puts the board members themselves in liability. So just so you know that. However, our board will always try to do what they think is best for kids within the parameter we get. If you ask me what I think they will decide, I have no idea. I really don't. So like I said, there are 2 parents that are going to come address the board, and I have some information some parents have sent me that I will give to the board. So as far as mask in class, we will know, we should know after the 13th, actually, because that's my next board meeting. The other thing is the Tulare or the California Department of Health is supposed to come out with some new regulations that could happen at any time. So we're still in that piece. Just a minute, Ken. So we're still in that piece where things could change up and down. So I just wanted you to know that. But we will still have to watch for symptoms as well. So if you have a child that has asthma, allergies, some kind of stomach issue, make sure that we have something in the office by your doctor that Katie, what do all they need to have on their note?
You do not need to have the diagnosis. However, what we would need to cover a child that is possibly presenting COVID-like symptoms is a note stating that the child has X, Y, and Z symptoms that tend to present during these times of year. So they often have a runny nose and a scratchy throat during the months of March, April, and May, for example. That would mean that during those months of March, April, and May, we would not send your child home for those specific symptoms, the runny nose or scratchy throat. If they were, if the runny nose was so bad that it seemed to be excessive, then that would be a different story. Or if there was other symptoms being presented, or if it was outside of that time frame, if it happened in June and not March, April, or May, that would be a different story.
So that is, so the quarantine is still in play as well. But otherwise than that, we don't have anything. There are some people that ask me, are we mandating vaccines? We are not. Parent volunteers will be back eventually, but we're not going to have parent volunteers come on until October once to get us back on campus and up and running. And because everybody has to get used to going back 5 days a week all day long. And then also to make sure we love our parents on campus. It helps us be successful. But the key is to get the kids back on campus. So that's really what we need to do. Now, if your kid has some kind of medical issue that they cannot wear the mask because they can't take it off themselves, or they're hard of hearing, then please let us know. And we can discuss that with you. Are we going to allow distance learning? I don't know yet. It's by the way they were describing it, it's just like distance learning right now, and we weren't going to do that. It's a lot of work, except for it looks like the governor may mandate that we have to offer it unless we don't have enough people, then we can get waived. So I can tell you that we're not going to pay a teacher for 2 kids, but if there are some others that want to be distance learning and the governor mandates it for us, we will open that up. So everybody will be getting an email that if we do offer that, are you interested? And that just came down today because people have been asking me, and I said, no, we're not going to distance learning. So we might, but it looks exactly like it is. It looks exactly like it we just got off of, and you had to have been successful when we were just on it. That means satisfactory attendance, academics. The teacher didn't have to keep calling and reminding to be on distance learning or talk to the parent instead of the kid. So those are all in play. Our after school programs will all be there. The buses will all be in play. The bus stops will go back to normal. Sports will go back. You do not have to wear a mask at that. When volunteers are coming back on campus, I'm not checking vaccine cards. So know that. And then the very first, for those of you that have kindergartners, we are going to make an exception, parent volunteers. We are going to let you on the very first day, go ahead and bring your kid to class, because I feel so bad about all of you that had kindergartners last year that weren't able to experience that. So we will allow that to happen for the first day and the first day only, unless somebody. That kind of makes sense. That's a lot of information in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. So let me answer the one problem about being home. Let me answer any questions that you have. And nothing's off limits here. If it's something that we need to talk about later, I will let you know. But this has really worked for us to be really honest with each other and kind of talk and answer questions. Anybody?
We'll be getting like a call or an email for who their teacher is and what classroom they're during the summer, correct?
Very good. I'm gonna have Katie answering that in just a minute. Very good question. We are going to have orientations like we did last year. We're going to go ahead and start on June 4th. So June 4th, 5th, and 6th will be minimum days like they are right now. I mean, August 5th, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So kids will get out 12 and 12:30, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you will be getting a note about your parent time and also with your teacher, who your teacher will be. So Katie, you want to tell when that's kind of going out?
Yes, so those should be, they will be mailed out next week, probably towards the end of the week. So we are hoping that everybody should have them by July 19th is what I'm hoping that everybody will have it in time for. So that should give everybody 2.5 weeks to be able to make arrangements to attend their child's orientation.
And that's not just for new parents, that's for all parents. So
All parents.
all of you will get it. So we're still going to have our work day, but you don't have to come to the work day to find out your kids early. You will get something in the mail of who your kids are, but please know that we are not switching. You're just going to get your kids early and your time early so that if something happens with that time, you can work something out with your teacher. All right.
What
Yes.
is what is the first day of school?
August 4th.
August 4th.
4th. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I had another question. I saw a hand somewhere.
Janet? Oh, you're muted.
Unmute yourself.
There you go.
So Milo's going to be in 2nd grade. So he gets off at 2:15, right?
2:10,
On
2:10,
regular.
and then Emma at
3:15.
3:15.
5th grader, right?
She's going to be in 4th grade.
4th grade,
Fourth, yeah.
3:15. Yeah.
Is there anywhere my son could wait for that
Yeah,
whole
so-
hour?
We have an after-school program. The foundation runs that. We don't run it. The foundation run it. It is for, they do charge the kids. Oh, you know what? I feel so bad. I should know how much it is. And I don't remember.
Okay.
We just had a meeting talking about that. I can't remember how much it is if you just want it for an hour.
Okay.
You can call, if you call the office or if you email us, if you go to our website and email one of us, we'll get you the number to call the foundation.
Okay. Thank you.
And they should be open the first day of school.
Okay.
So Janet, just to ensure that you heard that the first 3 days is orientations, and so the kids will be getting out earlier. You got those times?
No.
Okay, TK to 3 at 12 and 4 through 8, 12:30.
Yeah,
On
and
the
we'll be
first 3
sending
days.
out notification on that
Okay.
as well.
Thank you.
And we do have our first annual workday back, or it's not our first one, but our workday will be, when's our workday, Katie? July
Oh, let me see here.
31st?
Sorry.
It's the last Thursday, the
July-
last Saturday.
July
yeah.
31st.
July 31st from 8 to 11, and we do serve breakfast and drinks, and then we will be doing things like spreading bark around, pressure washing the play equipment. We spray down the buildings, do the windows. It's just a way to, for all of us to work together, but you will know your kids. And we're gonna do Arsenio burritos or Jack's Get and Go burritos for breakfast, one of the two. So.
If you
so we'll do for
plan-
breakfast with some fruit.
If you plan to attend, please message me either on Remind or through email. I'll put my email in the message box so that we can get a head count for breakfast.
Okay.
My husband.
Terry,
and
I have
will
a
be
question.
coming.
Hold on a second. Stephanie, did you talk first? I don't know who's talking, so.
It's
Stephanie, do you have a
Melissa Lopes,
question?
but go ahead. You can go ahead
Okay,
first.
let me ask Stephanie and then Melissa, I'll get to you. Stephanie, do you have a
That's
question?
fine.
My husband and I are going to be attending the work day. So there'll be 2 of us.
Okay.
Yes, I did get yours. And Stephanie, I just remembered when you mentioned that. Mrs. Roofer, is there going to be any childcare options like there are on parent volunteer days on the workday?
No, kids kind of work with us, right hand in hand with us. I mean, obviously babies can't, but they just kind of work hand in hand with us. If you have a little walker they want to walk in, it's just, we try to do it in the morning. So we've never really offered it because they just all kind of work together. Okay, Melissa?
Okay, yes, just have a quick question. I had just heard the parent ask about childcare for the hour while the older child gets out. When we signed up for the foundation, when they offered that a couple weeks ago, they had said that it was not guaranteed and we would find out if our child was going to be able to have that as an option for the after school care. Do you know when we will find that out?
Well, I think they were waiting for the California Department of Health, and so we can offer it now. So now it will just depend on if they have enough staff and how many kids can be in that classroom, but that has nothing to do with COVID. So I don't know when you should find out. I would think, Melissa, let me find out. Can you write down Melissa's name, Katie? Or we'll put something out to everybody, Melissa. We'll find out next week and we'll put something out to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
But I don't think it should be a problem.
I received a message with a question. It says, my oldest is now going into first grade, which makes us feel new all over again with drop off in the morning and pick up in the afternoon. How will that work this year? And then they ask, parents are not allowed to walk them to class?
Correct, only kindergartners this year, but we'll have everybody around like we did with COVID to take them. But, well, actually, we may let kindergarten and first graders. I take that back because kindergartners didn't get that experience last year, right?
Yeah.
So good question. So we'll allow kindergartners and first graders to take their kids to class, but Cindy will still address the drop off and pick up.
Right. So you had indicated you had a 5th grader, I believe.
First grader. And I think she
first
also
grade.
has a 6th grader. Is that right, Cheyenne?
Okay. So our drop off for TK through first grade is going to be the express lane. And if you have children in other grades, you can also drop them off at the express lane as well.
You want to say where the express lane is for our new parents?
So the express lane is at the front of our campus. It's right by the bus barn. It's kind of like a circle drive that runs alongside the fence line. And we call that our express lane. So you pull up there, you don't get out of your car, the children get out, and then they'll enter the campus that way.
Or you can park and walk through the gates for that one.
Yeah. And then 6th grade, if you're picking up just your 6th grader, because the time is different than your first grader, the pickup area for 6th grade will be the multi-purpose room. So we've changed some of the pickup and drop off locations, and we'll have notification that goes out for that to ensure that you know where the different areas are for this next year.
You want to just run through them since we have everybody on campus real
Sure.
quick?
So TK through first is the express lane. 2nd and 3rd is the multi-purpose room. 4th and 5th is the express lane. 6th grade, they're being dropped off at the sports complex and picked up at the multi-purpose room. And then 7th and 8th are both dropped off, picked up at the sports complex. So if you have a 4th grader and a 6th grader, you can decide between those 2 locations where you want to pick them up at. You don't have to go pick up your 4th grader and then turn and go pick up your 6th grader in a different spot. So you can coordinate with both your children which spot between their 2 locations you'd like to pick them up.
I believe Darcy has a question.
Sure. What's up, Darcy?
Good evening. I was just curious about the specific math situation, like the specifics about them. I had asked in one of the previous Zoom Q&As about there's like a little chin shield, if that was acceptable or not. I'll briefly put my video if you want to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, that'd be good. I think I know what you're talking about. One of our aides wore one before we came back on. Let me see what it looks
This
like.
little thing.
Yeah. So a lot depends on what the board decides, Darcy, on the 13th. But if you still want your child to wear a mask, the rule it has to cover the nose, the mouth, and the chin. Now the board may say no mask at all. They may say a mask. We don't care what kind it is, as long as it's a mask. So that my guess is, knowing my board, they'll either make the decision, knowing the 2 parents that are presenting, and they'll have all their ducks in a row. They'll either say no mask or they'll just say just some kind of mask. So that would probably be able to go through. And Loopy, did you see Nora's comments? Do you want to have her go into the separate breakout room? So look at that. Does that answer your question, Darcy, somewhat?
Yes, it does. So will you be doing another Q&A after the 13th?
I'll either do
address,
that
like,
or in that private, in the remind or in the private chat, I will say something. I won't put it on
Okay.
our main Facebook page because people that don't even have anything to do with Sundell are on those pages.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
awesome, thank you.
you're welcome. And there's a good chance we'll have another one right before school starts. Okay. So Loopy, do you need for Nora to go in a breakout room with you? I can't hear you, you're muted.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I have the Chrome and Chrome won't allow me to do that.
Okay, so she's asking,
I'm going to answer her in Spanish right now.
okay, perfect. Okay. Good question, Darcy. So we do have some children that are hard of hearing. That class will not be required to wear a mask unless the child wants to wear a mask because it interferes with the ruling on that has gotten a little bit looser. So that class will not be wearing a mask. Lunches are regular too, by the way. We'll probably eat outside a lot unless it's too hot, so.
Those first 3 days of school where we are minimum days, those will be grab and go
Grab and
lunches,
go.
like
Yeah.
they were this last year.
And for those of you that are new, the kids just grabbed their lunch and took it home with them. And we're still offering it to everybody through September 30th for now. So whether you're free, reduced, or paid, you just get it for free. Who else had a question?
Arzella,
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, perfect. There's two things. One, you just said about the lunch. So they'll be inside eating like normal, like,
So we'll go back to the regular schedule, Arzella. So if it's gonna be in the hundreds outside, then we'll eat inside. If it's gonna be, in the mid to low 90s, depending on the day, we'll probably be eating outside. We're gonna try to do as much outside as possible, but otherwise we'll be inside.
Okay, but no social distancing inside, right?
No, not, yeah. We don't have to social distance anymore. Social distancing gone. It's just the mask right now.
Okay.
And that could
And then-
change. I don't know if the second variant gets higher, you're still talking with government and health department and everything that goes in with that. So just please know anything you hear here is always up to being changed by the health department or the government. Okay, so just know that.
And then the parents that are going to go and talk with the board, they're going to discuss their own children about something, or is it for?
No, they're going to talk in general about mask inside.
Like not wanting to have masks inside?
The two that are coming,
Where?
correct. I assume that's their stance, knowing the two parents would be correct.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's other parents coming that want to speak. They can't speak during that time, but when there's input on the mask, then there could be some people that they have 3 minutes to speak. I don't know. I only know of two for sure. Yeah, I only know of two for sure right now. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Darcy, did you still have a question? The hand is still raised on your picture, so I wasn't sure.
Nope, sorry.
That's okay.
And Darcy, we did get much looser with the mask, like the masks that are like more the netted ones that had like
material.
junk on it. They were allowed to wear those. So, but we're also
yeah.
in the process. We just got approved to change the HVACs and put those air purifiers in. So,
Nice. Okay,
so that will
Thank
help
you.
too. You're welcome.
Stephanie, you have a question?
Yes, hi. My husband and I are wondering about the after child care. We just went online to see if we could register our girls, and it said registration is closed. Is it still possible to get after child care?
It is. It is. Cindy, you're going to be around. Can you look into that for me?
Yes, I will. I'll
Yeah.
check with Mrs. Louisa tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much.
you're welcome. So for those of you that are new, the foundation is its own 503c. So we do have 2 board members and 2 administrators on the board, and then 3 community members. but it's completely its own separate organization, and they basically, in a sense, rent our buildings. We don't really charge them to rent them, but they use our buildings.
And they have their own rules and guidelines that they have
Yeah.
to adhere by that are different than a public school.
And they have different guidelines. They have a different health department they have to answer to in Tulare County than we do. A different area of it.
Teresa Prather said that she called the foundation. They were able to email her the registration form.
Do you know the foundation's email, Katie, off the top of your head?
I don't know their email, but I can put their phone number down. And I'll look
Okay.
at the email.
Okay, so you might want to call and do that. Good questions. Anybody else? Mhm. So you guys will be getting an email or a remind. Katie is on vacation. We're making her work on her vacation. She is on vacation right now, and so she will be getting something out to you guys when she gets back about if we do offer distance learning, are you interested? And so you will get that. There's no guarantees if we don't, but it looks like the governor may mandate that we have to offer it if we have enough kids or we can get waived. So, but that will be coming out in the mail or the reminder.
Remind.
She's going to, yeah. So if you're not signed up on Remind to get information, because as new parents, you should have gotten that remind in your packet when you signed up. So make sure you sign up for that, because that's how we get a lot of our information. And if you're not sure, then next week call the office, because Cindy, Katie, nor I are in the office. Cindy may peek in, but we're not there. So we're all on vacation this week.
Kaylin has a question.
Sure.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my son is going into TK and I believe he's intra-district.
Intra-district.
So will he have to be in person? We were told that whenever we did enroll, but if it is offered to be at home, will he get that choice or will he have to be in person?
I can't answer that right now. It would depend on the numbers. We were not going to take into districts that want to do distance learning only because it's a really hard thing to do. And having that do that. But if you get that remind, since you have already been approved, if you get that remind, answer honestly whether you want it or not. We're not going to kick you out at this time.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. Since things have changed, that's not fair to you. So anybody else? If you don't have a question about starting the school, you have any question, you've got Cindy, Katie, and I all open to you. So ask away.
How does it work with the masks for, because like you said, masks will be required indoors. Is it, they just wear a new mask every day? Do they have to bring a supply of masks to school?
We have over 2,000 masks we have not even touched yet because we got so many, we had so many free ones given to us. So we have tons of masks yet. So each classroom will have masks. They will leave them on their desk when they go outside to play, unless the parent wants them to wear it outside. And then they'll put it back on when they get inside and have a new one the next day, if it comes from us or one from you. It's up to you.
Okay, so cloth masks are okay. It doesn't have to be
okay.
special.
It doesn't have to be the surgical blue mask. We don't have
Just
those either. They're hard to come by.
the clean one every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? I can't answer best questions for you. Sergio, did you have a question? Yeah, go ahead and unmute. Sergio, you're muted. You're muted.
Now, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is I've been watching a lot of news, so I'm seeing the new curriculums being brought into school. One of the big topics is the critical race theory one and this new social movement of teaching, I guess, racial theories and things like that. Is that going to be introduced this year or in the future in this school district?
So I can tell you as of this year, we have not adopted any new curriculum, so it will not, there is no new curriculum that will be adopted into our school at this time. There is a process that if there's any curriculum that's ever going to be adopted that's new, our teachers look at it first, and then they narrow down. So like if it would I don't see our school just adopting that curriculum. We would adopt, our next adoption would be a math adoption first, because we have a language arts book, but we do not have a math book. So it'd be a math book and probably a social studies and science, and then back to language arts again. So the teachers narrow it down to 2 curriculums that they like. Then we take it to school site council. We put a note out to all parents that they can come look at it and give their input, and you advise, and then it goes to the board. So you have more than enough time to know that that is approved. I do not see our school adopting a different kind of curriculum. So it will be, our next one will be math. And we have no plans right now to do that either. So in the next 2 years, there's no new curriculum that we are adopting.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Loopy.
The question is, will the buses be running normal routes?
Correct.
There not be 3 stops anymore, and
Correct.
they'll be picking up at their addresses, right? Or whatever route.
I don't know where they'll be at, but it'll be back to what it was before. Yes.
Okay.
Sean's the one that will say exactly where the bus stops are, but yeah, we'll go back to like we did before. Okay. Anything else? Anything with the beginning of school starting, nervous about your kids starting if you're new, curriculum, buses. If you are on one side or another of the mask and you want to send me information to give to the board, please do so. I would need it by email it to me. There's no guarantee that I will get it. It might go to my spam, so you would need to email it to me by Friday. So I would have time to get to my spam and get out. Yes, who was something next? Katie, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say that I added the Remind information in the chat box. If you are not a part of Remind, I highly recommend you get connected in that way.
We will check out those days of our orientation, Chromebooks again, if you need those, and hotspots if you don't have any internet. Not because we're doing distance learning, it's just the one thing that we did pick up from this is there are some skills we don't want to lose in case we ever had to go back to distance learning, but it is, whether you like it or not, it is the wave of the future for our kids. And so we want to make sure we don't lose the skill set that we already have. We will have sports, band, field trips, depends on the places we go to. So yes. Parades, band, as far as marching parades, it will depend on the places we go to. But it looks like we already have our sports calendar. They've already made that agenda all the way through the end of the year, starting with cross country and football and volleyball. And then band, she talked to us about some of those parades. We just don't know, but we'll have band. And field trips, we're planning on it. It just depends on the places.
And Chromebooks are just 1st through 8th grade for right now, correct?
All grades.
All grades.
Yeah, kindergartners can check it out as well. Just what you'll need to keep in mind is if your child checks out a Chromebook, they'll need to bring it to school with them on a daily basis if the teacher's needing them to use it in the classroom as well. So we won't be able to supply them with one in the classroom and one at home.
Okay.
But we have purchased some cases for them to help protect them as they're traveling back and forth.
So what does I guess the question, what does the whole Chromebook entail? It's the school's Chromebook. You check it out. If you need to take it home, you bring it back to school. We don't pay for
We
it.
do have a
correct?
system on it called Go Guardian, and so
Okay.
I would love to explain it to you, but Katie will do such a better job at it. So she's our office tech, so go for it, Katie.
Yeah, so with Go Guardian, it does monitor the child's use on their school issued device, as well as the use of their school issued Google login. So if, for instance, they are at home on their school issued device and they are searching something, we can see what they're searching. We cannot see their screen in real time when they're at home after school hours. But it does pop up if there's something, inappropriate coming up. We do get alerts about that, as well as we can just search a child and look at their browser history. During school time, the teacher does have access to see the child's screen in a live view. So they are able to redirect their children during class time to get them to go on to the website that the teacher wants them to be in. If they are doing a web, like a computer-based test to, ensure that the child isn't Googling answers to the test or using a calculator when they're not allowed to be, or veering off onto sites where they're playing games, things like that. So the teacher is able to see that in live view during classroom time. And then as well with the Chromebook, so yes, it is being checked out to the parent. We do not charge to do that. It is available to you guys free of cost. However, there is a cost associated with the Chromebook if it is returned damaged, if it is stolen, anything like that.
We're going to check it out for 3 years. So you don't have to return it back for 3 years unless you move or there's a damage and we need to look at it. So
that is a new program that we will be starting this upcoming year.
And that's for just regular homework, or is that just extra activities that they do on the Chromebook?
It could be both.
Everything, both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will turn it off. We will turn it off at a certain time at nighttime so they can't get on it at all. And what time did we decide, Cindy or Katie?
I think it was
Was it
9:30.
9:30?
I want to say 9:30.
Yeah.
We did start that at the end of the year last year. It's kind of a trial run, and we got really great feedback from both parents and staff on the use of that. Most things being done on Chromebooks after 9:30, were not school related. And so we felt that was that was a good cutoff time. And then I believe we open it back up at it was either 5:30 or 6, because typically children are not up any earlier than that, doing homework at least.
Yeah, so we have programs called Lexia, Alex, Dreambox. Then the middle school's language arts program is online. And so there could be homework assigned to it, or it could be classwork that they didn't finish in class. Or they can want, like I was just with my granddaughter and she was playing with Starfall. And it's a program that it's an educational program that she wanted to use, so she could do that.
Any school supplies needed, or is that going to come out closer to school time?
So that's a really good question, Stephanie. I'm glad you asked that. So teachers will give you a list when you do your orientation of things that you can get if you want, but we're a public school, which means that we need to supply everything that we ask for, but and everybody will still have their own independent supplies. We still won't be sharing supplies like that. But if you want to, because a lot of kids like to have their own stuff and you want to bring your own stuff, that's perfectly fine, but you do not have to. So the list they give you will be a suggested list.
I just remember something else about Go Guardian. There's also a parent app where as a parent, you can see the sites that your child is accessing. So if you notice they're spending more time than you prefer on YouTube or things like that, you can see all of that from the Go Guardian app.
And we'll probably do one of these sessions on for parents, and then Katie, who has been talking to you, and then Joey Purcell, who is our 7th, 8th grade intervention teacher and coach, and an e-sport coach. He will, one of them will do a video to show you as well that will be on our website that you can refer to. if you want to know what that is. So if you go to our website, there's lots of things. A lot of them are under COVID-19, but there's a lot of good things under distance learning as well to kind of show you some things. So just know that. And you can always ask and we'll show you as too. So ag science, I got asked that the other day. Will we be able to go back to ag science? Yes, you will. We'll be able to go back to the computer lab. Yes, you will. Music, yes. Art, yes. Electives again,
Library.
yes. Library, yes. Okay. Yes, you have, Janet, you have a question? Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, Terry, it's Melissa Lopes again. You had
Sure.
said that there are no volunteers allowed until at least October. If we have sports that start before then, are parents allowed to watch the sporting events for their children on campus?
You'll be allowed on that. I am just, to be really honest with you, having you guys be off campus really has nothing to do with COVID, a little bit, but more it has to do with getting everybody just used to being back full time. Because I think that it's going to be a little bit harder for people than they had anticipated, because it's a full day and all day long. So we're just going to do that a little bit because of COVID, just because I don't know this new strain, where that's going to happen. I'd rather have the kids on campus, but yes, you will be able to watch sports.
Loopy
thank you.
question?
Would the parents be getting a letter reminding them of their orientation dates?
Yes, they should be
Is
getting
that
it on the night by the 19th. If they don't get it, then call school.
Is that through the office or through the teacher?
Office.
Office.
For me.
Katie's sending them all out. So notice when I say we, most of the time I really mean Katie or Cindy.
All right.
And when Katie says we, she means Katie.
I mean me. I mean, yeah.
So just call Katie. You'd be a lot better off if you just called Katie. No, we can all answer for you. You guys have great questions.
Yeah, very good.
Anybody else? Okay, if not, please find time to have some fun, relax, really be careful about this heat with yourself, your kids, your pets. And we probably will have one again, maybe either the end of July 30th or 31st, or probably right around there. We'll have not 31st, probably the 30th of Friday. 29th or the 30th, we'll have another one just to answer any last minute questions. So feel free. Be looking for information from the board. Please do know though, if the board does talk about, if the board for some reason allows nose mask, but we do have a student that is at risk and on campus, which they have a right to do, that may be the exception. Okay, and we can't tell you who that kid is, but if you're in that classroom, you might still have to wear a mask if the board decides not to. So there's a lot of different parts. I don't know what the board's going to do. So like I said, you're more than welcome to come. It is on the 13th in room 22 at 7:30. Only the two parents will have an unlimited time to speak because they're addressing the board. The rest of you can have, if you want to speak, at the section that says input on agenda items, you would have 3 minutes to speak. All right. You are more
Hey,
than welcome.
Terry,
to
I
come.
have a quick question.
Sure.
I need to update my mailing address. Are you guys open this week so I can go in and do that, or do I just
Yeah,
call over the
sure.
phone?
Shirley is there from 8 to 5.
Marie,
Perfect, okay.
Marie, I did comment back. If you can email Anne Marie. She's not in the office this week,
Okay.
but if you email her, she will be able to make those changes for you.
Perfect, thank you.
And then Kaylin, you have a question?
Yes, I did have a question. I know that the preschool was peanut free. Is the school as well?
Pretty much.
don't-
Because we
we
pretty
don't
much.
serve any
I-
peanut related.
If my son could take peanut butter or anything
Yeah,
like that?
we have not sent anything out that says peanut free. We just don't serve anything in our cafeteria.
Okay, I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah. And Venus, there will be an after-school program. The foundation will run it. Sundell is no longer paying for it. So it is a paid program that you have to pay for the before or after. Before goes from 7 to 8, and then after school goes when your kid gets out all the way up until 5.
5:30.
5:30. And then sometimes they have, when we're out, they'll have, like they did for the summer, they'll have programs that you can do, but Sundell is no longer paying for it.
As well as on foggy days. There is time on foggy days as well. Janet, you have a question?
Yes, what time is the board meeting? I know it's July 13.
7:30 in room
7.
22. If you don't know where
Okay.
22 comes in, I'm gonna leave Shirley in the front office, so come to the office and she'll show you where it's at.
7:30 a.m., right?
PM.
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 Oh, okay.
Good question. I see, I just made the assumption, 7:30 PM. So we have to approve the agenda first, and then we'll let we'll probably move the input on agenda items as well.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Now, for those of you that are coming, I'm just going to tell you, if you're part of that no mask group, our board is different than most boards. So do not, I'm going to ask you when you're on that system, please do not go and say, well, this is what Sundell did. Please don't do that. Let's just keep it at Sundell. Whatever we do, let's keep it at Sundell. So it does put pressure on other districts, but some of us are in we're in a liability group together so that we get better rates. So just know that, okay? So same reason I don't ask the paper to come out to Sundell even without COVID. Just leave us out here, let us do our thing, and leave us alone. So kind of what we do.
Katie, for foggy day schedules, that goes out via Remind, like
Yes.
if
We do a remind text as well as an all call, and then it is on PBS as well.
Yeah,
And
and
they
we'll
don't
probably
have-
have another one of these sometime in October to talk, early October, probably to talk about our Halloween or fall carnival, and then foggy days, because they can hit as early as November. But it's a bus delay. So our delay, school starts at 9, 10, or 11, or we cancel. Okay. But
And
we'll
they
talk
don't
a bit
have-
more then.
they don't have to be at the before school for that if we
They
keep
do
them
open
home.
up. The before school will open up if you want them to sit there, if you get a notification. Yeah.
But they
That's
can be
that's up to
home.
you. Yes.
They can be home. Yes, they can be home. We're glad to have you, Stephanie. Anybody else? Okay, Cindy, Katie, and I will stay around. Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your July. Hope you had a great July 4th. And we will stay around if you want to ask another question for about 5 minutes. Okay. Good to see you
Thank you.
all.